Okay, I'm back, everybody. Reverend Amanda here, talking to you about numerology. We've been discussing this for the past several videos, and I'm getting into pretty good detail about each number. So far, we've went through 1 through 4, and a background on what numerology means in the first video. So I decided to stop it and start a new video so they weren't getting too long for each one, and also to make it a little bit more digestible if you want to only see 1 or 2 numbers at a time. So I am literally progressing on with the calendar. I had started on June 4th, and I'm just working my way each day till we get from numbers 1 to 9. I'm breaking it down to show you how I'm getting them. So if you wanted to go add any day on the calendar up for yourself, you can figure out how to do this. And then I'm giving you some background information on it, how we're building upon one number, going, literally going from 1 to 9, how you start at 1 and add on, and how things start to accumulate with each one. So that for those of you who have never even heard of this before or even understand what numerology might be, it is a building block. And so you can't get to the next number without counting up by 1. So in order to get there, you have to understand what each number means and how each number can affect you and what it means in your life. So I'm going to get on with explaining to you how I got to a number 5. And because I've been forgetting some gemstones and colors on the other videos, or forgetting something from each one, I'll make sure I add it into the notes on the other videos, but I want to make sure that I don't forget to give you the gemstones and the colors first after we add these up, so you can really see them and have those, because those are, to me, are the absolute most useful, obviously, besides understanding what the energy of the day means, or the energy of the number of that day means. For me, the most practical way to deal with numerology and to have it work for you in your life is to either wear a gemstone or a color that matches with the energy of that number. And just let the energy of the universe flow through you and work with you in that way. So here I go. I'm going to add up the number to get us for number 5. So we left off on June 7th. So now I'm doing June 8th for today, for today's date. No, not really today's date, but I'm saying for this particular example, today's date. So we've got June 8th. Zeros do not count when we do numerology, because the only way you can ever get a 0 is if you have 0 and 0. So we eliminate the zeros to make it easier and more practical to add these numbers up. But so you can see that I have here, I wrote it out this way, but I want you to just see it for digits. 6 plus, we got the 6, the 8, and 20, 25. So I'm going to take out those zeros and go down here. We've got 6 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5. When I did not fix that one. Let me take that back and fix it here. So when you add 6 plus 8, it's 14. Plus 2 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. Plus 5 is 23. That's still a 2-digit number. We need to break that down into a single-digit number, because numerology is the energy and the flow of numbers 1 through 9. That's a cycle, 1 through 9, and then we start back again at 1 and go back through 9. So we break down 23. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So that's how we got 5 for the date of June 8th, 2025. And now I'll give you the keywords and symbolism and colors and everything else that are associated with number 5. So I'm also not a number 5. I'm actually a different number in my life path, but I will explain to you how much I love the number 5. I love the number 5 because it's got such a contrast between it. Number 5 can be terrific or it can be so destructive, but it is such a great energy to work with, because if you need something changed, or if the universe needs you to change something, there's a good chance that it's going to happen on a day number 5. So I'm going to get into that with you, but I love number 5. I think it's a great number. I think it's a great way to help other people express what they need to express when they're dealing with the number 5. And when I do most of my readings, people typically come to me when they are dealing with the personal energy of 3 numbers, and one of them happens to be a number 5. So I have a great appreciation for number 5. Okay, first thing I'm going to get into are the colors that are associated with number 5. Whenever the universal day comes up as a number 5, or again, your personal number for the day, personal number for the day, the month, the year, or if it's your life path number, a number 5, these are the colors that will work and flow with you for that particular day in the universe. Turquoise, any shade of turquoise, because I know there could be aqua, there could be all that. Anything that's in the shade of turquoise would work well for that day. Anything in the phase of blues, but I'm not going to go with dark indigo blue, not at all. I'm talking about more of the vibrant blues that work really well. Even up to a solid dark blue, but I'm not going to go along the lines of like blue jeans, like dark blue jeans, or even the color of my sign over there. That's too dark. But I'm going to go with the lighter shades of blue. They all work really, really well with energy number 5. Pink, any shades of pink. I mean, from pale pink to hot pink. I mean, and everything in between. Pink is a great color for this day. Any shade will do. And then, of course, for anybody who's metaphysical or spiritual, or who works with anything that has to do with paganism, witchcraft, spirituality, a lot of us love black, because black is very grounding and it's absorbing and it eliminates a lot of the negativity. So black is another really good color to wear on day number 5. It's actually highly recommended you wear black on day number 5. So if you could do a combination of those, if you're like me, I have like a quarter of my closet is black. So I will mix and match any of those colors with black on that day, because it's one of the best days that I could take advantage of wearing it. So again, we've got turquoise. Any shade of the turquoise family will work for that day. Any shade of blue up until the very dark, dark indigo blues, or the blue jean color blues, not those. Eliminate those. And like I said, even to the color of my blue sign right here, that's a little too dark for this energy. You want to go medium, I want to say like ocean blue down to the very palest of blues. And then of course black. So enjoy those colors together on day number 5. As far as gemstones, we've been talking so far about how clear quartz can work with pretty much any number 1 through 9. It is an all-encompassing stone. Quartz works well with many different situations of things that are going on in life. And it's a natural element, obviously, in abundance on our planet. So clear quartz holds a lot of energy for lots of different reasons. But as far as numerology is concerned, it could be worn any day of the week. So besides clear quartz, we've got orange calcite. That works really well for number 5. And also diamonds and emeralds. Woo-hoo, right? So we've got diamonds and emeralds that work really, really well for number 5. The planet that number 5 is associated with is Mercury. And I'm going to tell you, as some of you may or may not know in astrology, Gemini and Virgo are associated with Mercury. And if you know anything about Geminis or Virgos, they do not like being told what to do either. So, you know, they like their freedom. They like their own independence. They like to be able to do what they want on their terms. And so if you think about the energy of what Mercury comes with, it comes along with communication. But it also comes in with, how do you create change with that communication, right? So we went from having number 3 being more so of the communicative sign or number of the numerological cycle, but as you go up each day in numbers, it becomes more detailed communication that comes into play. So now we go from the verbal communication of spitting things out, where it would be like haphazard and really just kind of putting it all out there and feeling it, to being more of inspirational, more deeply analytical, watching our words, but the communication that we do say is meaningful. It is it is more relevant to what's going on, so you pick and choose what words you want to say. Maybe now you don't just run your mouth. Now there's got to be a reason for me to share what I'm sharing. And there is a more conservative effort to really put out what needs to be said, unless you really feel like that communication needs to come across. If that's making sense, bear with me for a second, because, you know, Gemini can sometimes have that haphazard side to them where they want to just let things fly with that Mercury energy. And so can Virgo. Don't get me wrong, Virgo can too. But typically for Virgo, you really got to rub them the wrong way in order for that to happen. So keep in mind how calm or how volatile this number 5 can be. And this is why I love number 5 so much, because, you know, we could want the best intentions for what's going on in that day, and all of a sudden some friggin' speed bump will come into your space and it'll pop your tire. And I don't mean literally, but I mean metaphorically. It's going to pop your tire, and it's going to completely come in and shift up what was, you know, going on with you and your thought process. And it can almost to the point have you open your eyes and see things in a different light that you never saw before. So it's a very interesting energy. I'm gonna keep going because I love number 5 because it's all about freedom. It's all about like literally freedom. How do you change? And so that the two major key words for number 5 are freedom and change. Like, what change are you seeking? Are you seeking freedom? Are you being restricted from freedom? Are you resisting change? Are you having too much change and you need to calm down a little bit? But besides those words, it's also about adventure. So if you think about, wanting that freedom, wanting that change to come into your life, what does that look like? I mean, you might want to go on an adventure. You might want to go on vacation somewhere. You might want to explore something new. You might, really get into exploring yourself more and finding out, as I say man because of humankind, just, being man or woman on this planet, what does that actually mean to be in a human being body and being able to have the energy of mankind? Like, what does that mean? How we have the ability and the agility to move. Think about animals. They have to go in herds and they take their time getting from place to place, and some of them don't even leave the continent that they live on, or even the state or confines of where they are. But as humans, as mankind, we have the ability to up and go wherever and explore. We have the ability to go out there and create that freedom, to create that change in our life. We have the ability to go out and talk about it. We have the ability to communicate with other human beings and collaborate change. There's so much that goes into the 5. It's a great number. It's also very much so about expansion, because if you think about what I just said, you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to change and you're wanting to explore. These are all great ways to expand our mindset, expand our vision, expand our know-how and our smarts, like our capabilities. It's a way for us to explore our territory and see where we are, get out of a comfort zone, get out of a place that we've been stuck in our whole life, and go explore a new area. Like even if you lived, for me, like in the state of Florida, say you've been stuck in one town or one county your entire life and you never even explored what was away from you 3 hours away. Think of what that means, like how restricted that your life has been. And at some point in your life, you're going to start resisting it and you're going to want change to come in. Well, guess what? I can almost guarantee you it's going to happen during a day, a month, or a year of change on a 5-day. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, so the symbolism that goes along with it, we went from, again, a dot to a line, which came into balance, which went to a 3, which went to a triangle. Then we went to a 4, which gave us a square. And when we have 5 points now, that gives us a star or a pentagram. So it gives you that energy of, okay, now we're kind of moving along and we're able to go from these solid state structures to being able to be fluid and go in the motion of a star or a pentagram. So again, what is that movement? That movement is freedom. That's adventure. Let's move now. Instead of being stabilized and stuck in our space, very small, expand us. Okay, so what's associated with that? Well, I just said a couple things. We can travel. It can be expanded. It can be inspiration, having different areas of inspiration come through you or to you. It is also dealing with personal growth and personal work, and it's dealing with the effort to allow yourself to grow and change too, because sometimes we are so stuck in where we are, or we're resistant, or our mindset's like, no, that's not going to work for me, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, blah blah blah. But we never even gave it a chance, or even gave the thought to the fact of, what if this can be a make or break for us? What if this can be a completely eye-opening experience? If you're not even willing to listen, or you're not even willing to see what something is about, you're stifling your own growth. So it can make that day very resistant and very difficult to get through. But I want you to know that, as you go along, you'll see that things are just going to expand even more from there. So again, it is about having much personal work and having the effort, or putting forth the effort, to grow and to put those changes into play. Keywords that come into here, the daily vibration energy that comes in is about being active, taking the lead, again, because you're changing and you're wanting to be more independent now because you're going on an adventure, you're venturing forth out of your own space. that is taking the initiative to be active and lead. And it's also about getting into the energy of volunteering. Volunteering for, doesn't have to be necessarily like a nonprofit or anything, but volunteering to help somebody do something else in your life. Volunteering to help your kids, volunteering to help your parents, volunteering to help your siblings, volunteering to help with something that has to do with your house and your structure or your spouse or what have you. It could be anything that has to do with work, any facet of your life, but being able to put forth that energy of being volunteering or being volunteered to do something and not expecting anything in return. Because that's the true definition of volunteering, is doing it out of the kindness and the compassion of your heart, not necessarily requiring or requesting anything in return. And that's hard for a lot of people, but it's actually what helps. It's actually what helps us be able to grow and expand and allow ourselves to even have more adventures and more freedom and more of that beautiful communication and expansion that comes into our life, which will help us become more inspired. So keep those in mind. The other thing that comes along with number 5, which I love, because it just goes right along with the energy of freedom and change, and that is to be original. I mean, I couldn't really place it with any other planet. I mean, all planets and all signs of the zodiac are original. But when you think about how Geminis, they're the two sides of the twin, right? They beat to their own drum. And you look at Virgo and the fact that they beat to their own drum too. They don't back down from their morals or their ethics or what they're doing as far as putting their goal on and their mindset on something. They are really right there. So if you think about that, they are not ever really leaving their original state. They're not bending necessarily or conforming. That planet energy doesn't allow it to bend and to conform so easily. It does allow for change, but they have to allow the change in. And if they don't allow the change in, the universe is going to force the change in. So one way or another, that change will come through. But just know that energy, I mean, when you really start to look at things on a deeper level, where the elements come into play, the planets come into play, what the meaning of the numbers come in, it all starts to build and it starts to make sense. And I'm trying to break it down for you the best way that I can so that it can kind of stick in and start to make some sense for everybody who is really wanting to learn about these energies. So, okay, a couple more keywords that run into play with the energy of number 5, if I didn't already touch upon them. Let me just see here. Yep, I said change, communication. Okay, yes, so a couple more. So in here we have the energy of, I think I touched upon travel before. So it's more so getting forth the physical energy to travel, and that could just be local if you're not used to traveling. It could be planning travel. It could be physically taking the travel. It would be a really good time to go on cruises, get on a plane, explore another country, explore another state, explore another city. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you feel comfortable with. It's not saying, oh, you have to fly halfway around the world and have it be your first flight. That's kind of unrealistic, let's be honest. So you could, but let's face it, that's not going to happen for a lot of people because there's that factor of too many things that they're not sure of that might come into play. So a lot of the times it's going to be a local type of travel. Unless you're a well-seasoned traveler, then of course, then you're going to go and expand a little bit more. Change, we've already talked about change many, many times. This is a common theme with number 5. It's also about new interest, which is what I was saying. As you start to expand your territory and you start to expand and go on all these adventures, you are going to come into the energy of having new interests, because now that you're traveling to different locations in different areas, you're going to learn about new things and they're going to be of interest to you, or maybe you don't like them, but there's a good chance that you're going to be interested in something, because otherwise why would you want to travel, right? Why would you want to go explore a new area if there wasn't some type of an interest in it that would cause you to go there? And also under this energy comes sex. So, it's one of the few numbers that actually address sex itself, and it's not just the physical act of sex, but it's your sex. Like, what are you? What were you born as? What are you dealing with in that energy and the vibration of the masculine and the feminine energy within you? Well, how is that sex energy of what you were born as and what you're feeling and what you're dealing with? How is that working within your body? Is there something that you're not comfortable with within yourself of being a masculine man or a feminine woman? are you off balance within yourself? Because we all have that energy of masculine and feminine duality within us. That's how we were created. You know, every single one of us came from the chromosomes of male and female. So you think about it, we have that energy within us that we're masculine and feminine. How are we using that sex within us to determine who we are and how we are taking this energy that came from our parents and our chromosome donors, if you will? How are we taking their chromosomes and their DNA, and how has it made us who we are in our human physical being in this lifetime? So sex goes into a number of dynamics there, but it is all about physical sex too, being in relation with another person, how that plays out, wanting to try different things, wanting to meet maybe somebody of, you know, a different dynamic for yourself. I mean, sometimes 5 can come into the energy of wanting to explore. So it's either, you know, exploring with yourself, exploring with a partner, exploring with multiple partners. There's no judgment here. It is just what it is, because the 5 energy wants to know and wants to sense and feel and expand and have adventures. So it is associated with the energy of number 5 in all of its glory. So there we have number 5. I'm going to go into number 6.